Okay. All right. Welcome everyone once again. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are. So today, this is the third session of our training, and our focus today would be on how to edit videos and also how to share it for knowledge. And we would have Ms. Trina from University of Los Banos, who would give the presentation on editing videos. And then Mr. Chad will come on to give a practical example on using a particular application called Filmora, which will show you how to use the application to edit your videos. And then the last session today would be on sharing the video you've produced online and in person. So we would have Mr. Edmonds, also from University of Los Banos, who would also give this presentation, giving you information on how to do this, the best way to use, the best application to use, and all that. He would give all this information on that. And also from this training, from these sessions, we would have an activity, an assessment, which would be producing a video. And first of all, I hope we've already gotten ahead on the third lesson assessment, which is the shortlist, because from the information you create on the shortlist, you would use it to create a short 2-minute video, which we would present in our last session on December 15th. So I will just show a short slide, which gives information on the assessment criteria for the video. If you give me 1 minute, I will share my screen and show that. So this video you would create is basically a draft, and is basically to assess your knowledge on how to edit videos. And this is it. Oh, sorry, wrong one. All right. So can you see my screen?
Not yet. It's coming. It's coming. We
yes, it's coming. Oloma.
It's a bit long.
Okay. All right. So this is it.
No, we don't see it. Do you want me to do it for you?
All right, please, if you don't mind.
Yes, now it's coming.
Do you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and do you see the slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. We are.
Yes.
Maybe not the right format. Hold on. Hop. Okay, go ahead, Uloma.
Thank you, Sophie. Okay, so what you see right now is the video assessment criteria. So we hope that you will be able to create a 2-minute video using this and the information you've learned so far, everything you've learned so far, and also will learn today. So first of all, we would assess you based on involving different stakeholders on a particular issue for 30%. So basically you're choosing a topic, choosing any topic you would like based on what you do, your field and everything. So you'd choose a topic and create a video, and you choose relevant stakeholders. The stakeholders you've chosen would be, and how the video is based on that, we would assess you on it. And also 30% will go to the use of elements of the community, that is the language, the geography, setting, person, available resources and stories. And also the third one would be, the third assessment, 20% will go to relevance of content. So your content also shouldn't just be anything, it has to be something relevant, something that is easy to understand and we can all relate to. And the last 20% will go to technical quality. So how the quality of your video is, the audio and all that. And Ayushi yesterday gave presentation on shooting at the field. So if you would like, you can go back to viewing that presentation, the video, and also the PowerPoint are available. So you would be able to use this as a backup, as a guide to creating your shortlist, as well as the video and editing. And our session today, which would be on editing video, would also give more information on how you can go about this, putting your content together to have a great short video. So for the draft, we hope that it's possible for you to have it available by 13th December, because this would be, the draft will be shared on the last day of the training, which is 15th December. So we would need time to look at this, and our resource persons would review this and give you feedback ahead of time. And once you have feedback on the 15th, you would have enough time to finalize your videos, go through the content again, make sure that the quality of the video is right, you've edited it the right way, the stories and everything is appropriate according to what you've learned so far. So the final video, we hope that we get the final video by the 3rd week of January, because we've come to the end of the year. So we are giving you enough time from now, from the end of our lessons to the 3rd or 4th week of January. So you have enough time to create and finalize your videos, because this is what we would use to access you, to assess your video production. And yes, so that is it. And before I give the floor to Trina to take her presentation, I will just give you a quick recap on what Ayushi presented yesterday. So yesterday she spoke about shooting at the field, and she gave the different steps and different levels on this. She spoke about the shortlist creation, which is the first assessment, which I hope you have already started. And then when you're creating the shortlist, you're creating a storyboard. Here you're basically thinking about the idea for your content, for your video. You also think about the location where you would shoot, your video, whether inside, outside, whether during the day, whether in the afternoon or at evening, basically setting the scene for it. You also choose the time. You also look at, select the people you would need, the stakeholders you would interview. Also keeping in mind that their permission to use the videos have been granted by them. And also the materials, the equipment you use, also you have to check that, and basically making sure that everything is ready for your video before you go into the field to give the record or shoot the video. So today, with the information you've gotten from yesterday, today would show you how to edit these videos, this content you've collected. And I'll give the floor now to Ms. Trina, who would give a step-by-step basis on how to basically edit your video. And after her, we have Mr. Chad, who would come on to show you a practical example using an application called Filmora. So thank you, Trina, for joining us today, and over to you.
Hello, thank you, Oloma, and good day to everyone. I'm very happy to be here. So as Oloma mentioned earlier, I will be sharing with you some tips on how to edit a video. And so this, my presentation is largely from the digital green procedure. So we will learn that today. Okay, so let's start. So basically, when you talk about editing, video editing, this is the third phase or the post-production phase when it comes to video production in general. So you have the pre-production, which is on script writing, preparing the materials, and interviewing. Then you have the production phase where you shoot the video footage, and then here's the post-production phase. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to enumerate the steps in editing a video, and of course, we would like you to try your hand at really editing the video that you will get from this workshop. So editing, in its simplest terms, is basically a process of collecting all of the footage that that have been shot and combine these shots and the elements together so that a story can be told through the combined shots into a single video. So when I say it's the video, we're talking about editing, we're talking about video footage, but we're also talking about the other elements like photos, graphs, maps, and of course we have music, sound effects, and so on. So editing helps to remove unwanted parts of the video, and it fills the gaps by creating a sense of seamlessness. So you're storytelling through video. So why do we need to edit a video? So editing a video can solve the following purpose. So first of all, because from your last workshop, you have been assigned to shoot a certain topic. So now you have these different video clips, video footage that are in separate parts, and now you need to combine them to form a single video. And so there are parts of the shots where we may not want to use or we may not need to use. And so editing helps to remove these parts that are not needed. Then, of course, parts of our video may need additional elements. So that's where we put them in as well. So like voiceover narration, and background music or sound effects. So these are all done through video editing. And of course, lastly, if there are any abnormalities that are in the video footage that you have taken, so editing helps us to correct them and make the video appear in line with the quality standard. So for example, you interviewed in a place where there was some noise, a little bit of background noise. So video editing can help with maybe lessening, decreasing the noise, but only at a certain point. So of course, it's always best that you shoot the best way possible, so that when you edit, you will not be editing too much, because it will be very challenging. So editing a video brings all the visuals together. So this includes the selection of the usable and appropriate parts amidst the raw materials. So it's stitching or weaving together all the necessary elements to make a final product. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you add the other elements like audio, voice-over narration, music, background music, sound effects, stingers. So stinger is a type of sound effects that we use for radio programs. And you also add titles. So you have text, images, graphics, and so on. Oh, please let me know if I'm going too fast though. Okay. So understanding the basic steps of editing. So editing is also a language. As I've mentioned earlier, it's a form of video. Editing is creating your story through video. So it will have period, punctuation marks, your comma. So using the right edit at the right time is the key to proper editing. So we're not really aspiring for very very flashy editing, all of these video transitions that are flying all over the place. We don't really want aim to do that. So yes, thank you. Yes, please put any questions in the chat box. So you have start and end points in video editing. You have transitions, video or film transitions, and effects. And you have flow and added context, including music. So there are 3 stages basically in video editing. So you have the first stage, which is the part where you arrange all of the raw files. We call them raw files because you have not done any editing yet. So you have just done your video shooting. So it's completed. So you are now collecting all of the video footage, photos. You can also include photos, definitely. Audio files, and into the project so that they may be edited together. So that's the first phase that you need to do, collecting them and managing them into folders in your computer. Then the second stage is including the adjustment and manipulation of the audio and visuals of the different clips onto the timeline. So we'll talk about the timeline. I'll show you what it is, but Chad will also give us a demonstration of what a timeline is and what you can do with the timeline. So then you adjust and manipulate these audio and visuals on the timeline. And then the third stage is now, once you have done that, you will now add the other elements that will enhance your storytelling, enhance your video. So you put the music, the introductory music, maybe you have ending music, sound effects, as I mentioned earlier. You have the titles or the text, the names of the people you interviewed there, or the name of the province, the region you are in, and other effects that will help to make the video to be more effective and presentable. So this is the timeline, the editing area. Oh, the timeline is actually not yet here. it's there. It's the black space at the bottom. So, but here you have the editing interface when you open your software. Although different editing software, of course, there are more expensive ones and there are free ones, but they technically have more or less the same look, the same features, and then the features will just be more. There will just be more features if you have more expensive software. So the timeline has its respective controls that activate and deactivate the tracks, and level adjustments and accommodate the time scale for better visualization of the work to be done. So essentially, the timeline is where each clip, the place where each clip is modified, adjusted to add to other video clips to form a sequence that will eventually become your final video. So this is a screenshot of my own computer when I did my presentation. You will see here, there are some photos there and so imagine that you have taken your video footage. So these will be what you see, and you can import your video footage onto your timeline. So here, so understanding more about the timeline. So usually a timeline, it's the lower half of this screen, of this right portion. If you are looking at the screen, the bottom right portion, you have usually 2 video tracks or channels where the shots are placed and they are displayed as rectangles. Usually you would see an icon image at the beginning. So you will see, this is my video of the house where we shot the interview of the farmer. So at least you'll see, you can add them together and you can easily see, this is an interview and this one is the rice field. So it's for easier recognition. And usually you'd have video tracks that at least 2. But Chad will show you earlier that you can put more. And then of course if you have video tracks, you will also have audio tracks. They are represented by rectangles whose extension represents the duration time. So you can see here at the bottom part of my screen, of our screen, the green part. So it might be blue in other software, and you can see the wavelength. Is that what you call it? So that's that would be the audio that you can edit later on. So each video clip would have usually an audio and a visual track. So when you go out into the field, when you interview, right? When you interview someone or when you take a video footage somewhere, of course, your camera will record both audio and video. So you will have both. And you can edit them both together or you can separate these clips. All right. I'm looking at my time. Okay. the images and sounds can be shortened or lengthened. Yan, in the video. But not beyond what was recorded, okay? So you have to, I guess in the video production lecture earlier, in the previous session, you were instructed to shoot and shoot as much as you can, shoot footage as much as you can, so that you have enough video footage to edit. So you cannot lengthen what you did not record. So you can adjust the other shots position in the timeline. And each shot can also be cut and separated into two parts. And Chad will show us that later. Usually with a tool that generally represents the a razor blade, or it might look like in my software it will look like scissors. The remaining part can be selected with the cursor and deleted from the timeline. So any change that you make on the timeline changes the data on the timeline, but don't worry, because your files are still intact. So don't worry, you're just manipulating what you have imported onto your timeline. So what is our goal when we edit videos? We want to reproduce what we visualized and what we wrote on the script. We want to produce a combination of the shots, and we want to put in appropriate video transitions according to the original design. And we adapt, if necessary, to the conditions of the shots obtained. So of course, we cannot, as much as we did our best in planning the shoot and executing the video shoot, sometimes there are unpredictable, when you do the video shoot, it is unpredictable, right? The weather might suddenly turn bad. And so we might have to adjust a bit. But of course, we don't want to change the meaning of the sequence. We want to stay true to the script that you made. So the union of two shots must be technically clean and represent the fluidity of audiovisual language. And once the program is finished, or what we call it, the program, the episode that you created, it's good to convert the video to a shareable format, which can be shown in various other equipment or various platforms. And Edmund will share that later in his presentation. Okay, so now we will go to video transition. So once you have done your editing, you might want to consider having video transitions as well. The result of transitions is passage from one image to another through the selected visual effect, be it a fade in or out of an image or dissolved in a colored background. And so this helps the video to look pleasant. It helps not to shock the viewer with sudden, oh, there's another video, there's another image that I did not expect to see. So video transitions help us in that way. So this can be applied to both audio and video. So you can, I'll just show you examples of some common video transitions, but we can also apply them to audio as well. So they have the same principles. So these are some of the common film or video transitions that we use. And there are really reasons why we should choose that. You don't just choose, oh, I'll do a fade in this place, and then I'll do a cut in this place, and because it will be very interruptive for your viewer. So you want your viewer to really understand your video. So the cut is the most basic and common type of transition. And this happens when one shot instantly replaces another. Usually when we watch the news, usually cuts are used. So you just see one video clip after another. So it's the quickest way. There's not really much of a time that is spent or a number of seconds that is used for a cut. It's essential for effects in juxtaposition when you just want to show one thing at a time. and it allows for a better flow of the movie or video. So I used here examples of movies to show you what the transition will look like. So just imagine these shots are in chronological order, one after the other. All right, so that's the most basic and common type of transition, the cut. Then you have the fade in or fade out. So it's the second most common type of transition. Fade outs is where the picture, imagine the picture, is gradually replaced by a black screen or any other solid color. It could be white, fade to white. It's usually used to end movies or segments. If you watch a movie where there is a major change in the storyline, there will be an end to something. You will see a fade out, and usually a fade in is when you start a movie. So fade ins are when solid color gives way to picture. So usually you see that at the start of movies, right? Or TV series. Fade ins and fade outs are seldom used by editors because they imply the end of a major segment. So you can think about this when you are now visualizing your story. Where can you put these fade ins or fade outs? Because they again imply a major change in the story. Then another very common transition is the dissolve. So when you talk about dissolve, it's one shot gradually replacing the next. So there's an overlap of two images for a few seconds and both are visible. So these are commonly used, dissolves are commonly used to signify the passage of time or location. So you can do that if you want to show that you are, for example, you did a shoot on rice farming and you want to show that your passage of time from morning to noon to night. So you can do that. Or location, if you are changing from one location to another. We also do that if you want time, if time needs to be slowed down or sped up. If there is a strong emotional component to the subject, and a strong visual relationship between incoming and outgoing images. So if you can see in my example, this should be one whole line. If you can imagine this as one whole line, it dissolves from the man and the woman who. So you see that you can sort of visualize a connection between the two images, that probably the woman is waiting for the man, something like that. So that you can do that for dissolves. So you have some examples of match dissolves. This is already a bit more detailed. But you see this probably in movies. If you are if you're a movie fan, you see match dissolve. These are compositions of the two shots that are very similar, but they have different subject matter. So, for example, here you see the sink, and then you see the next dissolve would be an eye of a person. So it again shows relationship between the two. So yeah, for storytelling purposes. And then a match cut. I can imagine you doing a match cut. Usually if you want to show a series of events that are happening, so you cut from one scene to a completely different scene, but you keep the objects from the two scenes graphically matched so as to establish continuity or flow. So here you see a long shot of a woman holding the doorknob, and then the second is a cut. So it's a fast cut to the woman holding the doorknob. So it's a close up, extreme close up. So you can do this for if you want to show transition. For example, again, a farmer who is going to the field. So I can imagine you doing a match cut. So those are the most common video transitions. Perhaps Chad or Sir Edmund will have some ideas as well. These are additional visuals that we also include when we do our video editing. So you can also visualize what other elements can we use to better tell our story. Sometimes the video footage and the photos are not enough. Sometimes we could use maps if you want to show location of a place where we are doing this video. Animation, if you have an advanced somebody who has advanced knowledge in editing, and animation is actually very important, especially for video that is hard to retell using actual video footage. Like for example, in my case, because I used to work before here at in the Philippines with the International Rice Research Institute, so we had to produce videos where we had to show the science of a particular technology. So solar, how do we show the heating process of a rice dryer, a solar dryer. So we cannot really show that with video footage, right? But we did an animation or a drawing where we saw how air was being circulated within the rice dryer. Or for example, we wanted to show how a rat trap barrier system, if you have encountered that, how to trap rats in a field. It's hard to catch the rats when they enter the rice field, right? So we had to show them how they multiply, how the rats multiply, because they get pregnant and they give birth very fast, very quickly. So we did that in animation. And how do you trap the rats through the trap barrier system? So these things, and of course graphs to show numbers. We had an Indonesian farmer before who said, when we did a participatory video with them in Indonesia, it would be great to show the yield that increased when we adopted this particular technology. So he suggested that we use graphs to show the numbers. All right, and of course, sound, music, and sound effects. Of course, it would be great if we use, because you might want to share this video online, and Edmund will share this with you later. So you might want to think about using creative music that is royalty free, or Creative Commons, or you can also use music or songs from the community. So have your community sing the songs, and you can use that as your background music. Text, of course, a video can have text in these positions. So you introduce, of course, the subject or the title, and then you'd have subtitles, especially if you want the video to be shared again in another language, or sometimes you need to put subtitles if the audio is not so good, not so audible. Of course, if you want to highlight some key messages within the video, you can have some text appearing every now and then to emphasize these key messages. And of course, your end credits. Don't forget to put your end credits, the organization, the production team, and so on. Final product, once the program is finished, so again, it should be converted to a format that can be reproduced using other equipment in any place. The format of the program, when we finish editing it in the software, it may not be ready to be directly played except on your computer. So that's why you have to convert it to another format. And the final version is recommended to be exported in different common file formats. You have to also think about that if you want to share it online, share it on the big screen, share it on the TV screen. So you have to think about these different formats. Just a couple more slides, sorry. Editing process in brief. So of course, you download the raw video footage from the video camera onto the computer. And the raw video clip should be transferred to the computer or put together into a file if the video will be edited on a mobile phone, because you also have apps on your phones. Of course, you will have your own way, your systematic way of managing your files. So there are two examples here of how you can manage your video clips. So you can place the video clips of a particular practice together in the same folder. You can do that. For example, again, rice farming. So you can have one folder that is all about land preparation, for example, and you can have another file solely on pest management. So it can be that. But also you may want to consider, you can have, if your script in your script, the sequences are numbered, then you can also number your folders accordingly and number your video footage accordingly, and put them in the subfolders. I personally do that. It's much more time consuming, but it's good because well, you can already see what particular video clip will go into each sequence, and it also prevents you from duplicating. For example, what if, for example, you are you have certain parts of the video where you put where you have something on land preparation, for example, and so you may have times when you are repeating the same video footage, and we try to avoid that, right? And so if you put your video footage into the subfolders with the numbers, then that prevents duplication or repetition of video clips. Okay, and then of course you use a video editing software to check the required clips. And then, so here's the editing process in brief. Of course, you edit the video, you stitch them together. And then, of course, if your organization or group has a style guide, so you add titles, captions, annotations, slides, and credits, add voiceover, and then you balance the sound levels, brightness, but be very careful in doing that because you might compromise the video footage or the audio clip. Review the video for final approval. So after the video is edited, it's necessary to show the video to a subject matter specialist to check on authenticity. If, for example, if it's a technical video, you want to check that the practice, the rice growing practice, for example, the science is correct. And then after that, you do another test with some community members to show if the video is correct. I mean, if there is no offending footage or something, you show that to the community, and then you convert the video to the different formats for distribution. So that would be it. Sorry, it took a bit long, but that's it. I will now turn you over to Chad. I hope we still have time. And then maybe later if you have questions. So thank you very much.
I think it's now the time to answer those questions. Thank you so much.